Welcome back to Channel 6 TV here on Community Focus. I'm Kenny Fogel, your host. Glad you could join us, and we're coming up on November the 8th. That's Tuesday, November the 8th. That's Election Day, and I've got a gentleman here with me that probably needs absolutely no introduction at all, but he's been around the Bardstown area for a number of years doing a number of things, and a former mayor, former city council, and running for Bardstown City Council again, Mr. Bill Sheckles. Bill, appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having us, Kenny, and I appreciate you, Channel 6 and yourself taking the time to give these candidates a chance to toot their own horn or get their message out or whatever we feel like we need to do. So I appreciate you having us on.
Are you one of these people that when during the last 2 years you're going around telling everybody saying, "Do you miss me yet?"
No, I didn't have to. I'm not a Facebook authority, but I'm sure there's a lot of people out there. But these last 2 years have been, I've heard a lot, I've seen a lot, and of course being involved in the city government and statewide affairs and local affairs too, public and private. So it's I hear a lot. Like I said last night in the debate, there hadn't been a day since I've been out of office that someone hadn't come up to me and asked me, "Are you going to run again?" So I just figured if I'm gonna hear all the topics, I'm hear all the noise that needs to go along with it, whether I'm in office or not in office, I might as well be back in office. So,
well, before we get into some of your perspective on when you were mayor and city council, I mean, you obviously did some like statewide things as well, Kentucky League of Cities, things of that nature.
Yeah,
you've been involved with.
I was actively involved in the Kentucky League of Cities on their executive board and. Had a lot to do with handling a lot of the legislation.
What are they saying about Bardstown? People outside the community, are they asking you any questions, or are they saying what's going on?
You would be, when I was actually involved in the KLC and actually was the president there for a while, and so naturally I got a chance to toot Bardstown horn as much as I could. Mm-hmm. And so people became aware of myself, they became aware of Bardstown and all the good things that we helped promote. But it's kind of like a two-edged sword. Once you're out there and your name's out there and all the good things are going on with you, if your name's out there and good things are not going along with you, then people hear that too. But everybody knows what's going on in Bardstown, and at one time we were the pinnacle of all cities in the state as far as working together, city, county, economic development, things of this nature. And people wanted to envy us. They envied us, and they wanted to copy us.
Yeah.
The 4 years I was as mayor, they had all kinds of people from different cities and management groups from across the state come in and look at our concept and how it was working so well as we were attracting business and industries and things from all across the country and the world, for that matter, wanting to.
So our perception outside the community does make a difference.
Oh yeah. Well, we're on the inside looking out.
Yeah.
A lot of people on the outside looking in, and if you're not out there, outside the city limits, you don't always necessarily understand how people perceive Bardstown and how they respect us and how they want to know what's going on. So yes, I got invited to come up for 3 days at the League of Cities convention, but I only took a day because I knew what I was going to hear. So I didn't want to have to keep repeating myself for 3 days. So. But, Bardstown's still a great city. It's still got a lot of good things, a lot of positive attributes. And this little negative setback we've had here with the media and with our mayor and police departments and some of the murders issues that haven't been solved, that always is a red flag. But we're still a good community. We
got named the most beautiful city in the United States. I mean, and I'm going to let you right here to being humble or whatever it is, but a lot of that comes reflected from your administration.
Well, that was true. I know when the contest first came out, some of the other leaders thought it was kind of dorky, but myself and the chamber people, Dorothy White, Kim Houston, Economic Development, we thought it would be a great plug if we could win that contest. Yeah. And as it turned out, we did win, and it turned out it gave us a lot of notoriety around the country. So it did pay off. So. It wasn't as dark as we thought.
Okay, let's go back to being a former mayor and involved the city council. What is going wrong right now? Is it dysfunction, big personalities? Is it the wrong issues? Are they going about things wrong? Or actually, what's going on right now?
Well, inexperience had a lot to do with this. When I was mayor, we of course, we get along with the city, county, economic development. We work together as a team. And, you know, and when my opponent was running with me 2 years ago, the one thing that they want to say that, you know, the mayor had too much power. He wasn't transparent enough. He didn't work good with the council and all. But we got things done. There wasn't a lot of bickering or feuding. But that was all politics. And the truth of the matter is that after I got out of office, and the one person that was making all these accusations, his true character came out. He was really the one that was behind all the nonsense that went on, or what little bickering, or what couldn't get along. It was all because of the current mayor, John Royalty. He was the one that kept all the stuff going, and once he got in office, his true nature came out. That's the reason that you see all the bickering and back and forth between the council and the county and things of that nature. It was all because of one person, and that was him.
So what can the city council do to make a difference?
Well, and along with him, then of course, some of the members of the council that, you know, weren't very vocal or didn't speak up, and kind of went along, or didn't stay on top of the issues that were at hand, and some of the other council people that newer and didn't quite understand the concept of what was going on, he kind of bullied them a little bit, to the point that they didn't do their homework well enough. That where we got in the city got in the financial mess that they say they're in. So, but it didn't have to be that way. But be that as it may, I think if you get people involved in the city government now that have had the experience, because there's no substitute for experience and knowledge of how to get things done, and that's what I bring to the table. Like I say, I've been a city councilman on one side, and I've been a mayor on the other side, so I know what it takes to work together, and I know what it takes to present the issues the way that it needs to be presented, and how to get along, and how to work and cooperate with people. And that's the bottom line. You know, it's not my way or the highway when you're involved in city government.
Well, we got a new fire department that looks a whole lot different than it did when you left. I mean, have we made an improvement, or we just moved too fast? What's going on with the fire department?
Well, number one, that's the number one expense in city government, city police and fire protection. So it has to be, if you're going to grow, you have to grow in an orderly fashion, because it's not inexpensive to furnish a full-time fire department or a full-time police department. Of course, Bardstown has grown, so all those things, but it was growing when I was there. And I knew the expense of operating a full-time fire department, and personally, I don't think it needed to be a split, because the people that work with the county, the fire department now, and the city fire department, they were one and the same. Yeah. And for the 20 years I've been involved in city government, they've always had a little rip. They have more time on their hands than most of the departments.
There's something between fires.
Well, yeah, so, you know, the personalities come into play, and I can remember when I first got involved in city government, you know, the city and county debating between who was the chief, who wasn't the chief. Yeah. They had one year they'd have an election, and one guy would be chief, and the next guy would be somebody else, but they were all one and the same. Yeah. They worked in the same department, they operated the same equipment, and they just shared expenses. It wasn't. They tried the same thing with me several times, but I knew what the bottom line was going to be, so I just deal with the volunteers who are the basis of the fire departments, and tell them to go back over there and get back in the game. And I don't care who your chief is, but your whole job is to fight fires, to protect lives and property, and that's all you guys want to do. So all the politics that go along in office, you don't need to be involved in that.
Well, there's been a big uproar in the police department. There's been a big shake-up there as well, and the rec department and E911. So what do you tackle first, or is it just everything's on the table?
Well, it's about cooperation. When you live in a small community like Bardstown in Nelson County, anytime that you can share expenses or you share costs, then it's the least of a burden on all the taxpayers, city and county. And with the interlocal agreements, that's what we had worked to do with the recreation department, with the fire departments, and working together with city and county police department. Yeah. You know, the mix up in the fire department, the police department, that caused such a ruckus is because the transparency between the mayor and the chief. You know, if you got people that run your departments, then any decision that you make Of course, in a mayor council form of government, the mayor is ultimately responsible. But if you're going to be have your cooperation of your staff and your fellow workers, you should follow the proper protocol, proper order of command. You've been in service, so you understand the proper means
Chain of command.
chain of command, yeah, and communication. But you don't go behind your supervisor's back and do things that he's not aware of, or things of that nature. Whether it be the police department, the public works, or wherever it be, you go through the proper order of command. You don't do things like that, yeah, behind people's back. It's not.
How quickly after the election can we expect things to sort of calm down and get back into, say, civil order, if you want to call it so?
I don't know what the time frame will be. I don't know who the elected officials will be in this next upcoming election. I hope I'm one of them. But I think, like again, the knowledge and experience that I hold, I think would be a benefit to the upcoming council, whoever's on the council, because you know what you know, and I've proven over the years that I can work with people. I've proven over the years that I've been a good leader, because most of the it's not the people above you that get you fired; it's the people below you that get you fired. And we had a good working relationship. You know, while we kept our budget in line, while we didn't ramsack the utility budget, the utility reserves, we didn't ramsack those simply for the fact that I had faith in my department heads. I allowed them to do their job, and if they could do their job and take care of business and keep the costs down and be more efficient with their job, then therefore I could pay them more. And you know, if they understand that you appreciate them enough to give them the opportunity to do their job, and you know, the workers are better at that than any mayor.
Well, you consider yourself a micromanager or somebody that basically?
No. You can micromanage the operation as big as the city of Bardstown, that has their own 6 different utilities, as well as the police, fire, and recreation, all the other things that go along with that. You know, it's I would tell the guys that they run our department. I said, it's your job to make the city look good. I just have to catch hell when you don't. So just do your job. I'm not an electrician or fireman or engineer or any of that nature. That's what they get paid to do. And they have some pretty good works at the city of Bardstown, and they did well.
Well, utility reserves have been in the news, have been fluctuated up and down, and a huge tax increase on the occupational tax, basically doubled. And for some, it may not sound like a lot, going from 0.5% to 1%, but that's a lot of revenue coming in. Are we in good shape now to get things leveled out, or are we just going to be a monster that needs more money coming down the road? Well,
there was a lot of knee-jerk reactions, I think, with this. Like I said before, the mayor had his own little agenda, and some of the newer council people that wasn't aware of what's going on, some of the older council members that didn't do their homework. You can't go out and one thing you can't do, you can't go out and put on projects where you haven't figured out a way to fund them. So that's kind of what happened. And got the cart before the horse on a lot of issues like that. So you just have to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And, because when I came into office in 2011, we had close to a little over $4 million in reserves. When I left, we had over $11 million in reserves. We didn't change the occupational rate. We didn't have to raise taxes. What little bit we raised on the utilities were just passed through some LG&E or KU. So we didn't have any of that, and so that's what managing the city budget is all about. Yeah. If you keep people working, keep the city looking good, and not having to raise the utility rates and on the cost for all the citizens. That's what it's all about. And still put a little money back in reserve, because you never know when you might have a major tornado come through or a windstorm or something where you have to reach any reserves to.
Well, the caller on the line basically wanted to know. You've been through this before. You've been through the city council. You're pretty seasoned at it. I mean, I'm sure as time went on, as you say, experience makes a huge difference. You get better and better at what you do. You coming into this with a different perspective than you did when you originally got on the city council,
when any new person comes on the city council, it'll take you a year usually to figure out what you can do, what you can do, what you want to do, and what the law says you can do is 2 different things. Yeah. So it's a learning curve, And of course, after 12 years of doing that on the city council, you kind of know what the rules and regulations are.
And you know what you can do, what you can't do, as you mentioned earlier. I know sometimes people on the city council maybe were told that certain information they weren't privy to, but you would know.
Oh yeah,
you would know better.
Oh yeah, that's the whole key. When usually if a young person gets elected, they have their ideas on what they want to do, or they've talked to the constituents that were supporting them and saying they want to do this and they want to do that. But once you get involved in actually the government, you realize that the government doesn't run as quickly as a private sector does.
Yeah.
I've always been in the business aspect of the world, of the business, so. If we've got if you got government funds over here and you got restricted funds and non-restricted funds over here, you think, well, why can't you take this money over here and put it over here to balance everything out? But in government, you can't do that. In business, you can make it all work, but you can't always do that in the government aspect of it all. So it's things like this you have to learn what you can do and what you can't do, and of course, being able to sit in the mayor's chair, that's a different perspective altogether. Where the buck stops with you, so decisions you make may not always be the decision that you want to make, but you have to make decisions for the betterment of the community, and that's it.
Well, is there anything you think the voters don't know about Bill Sheckles or should know that you want to do? I mean, like I said, you've been around for a while. We pretty much know who you are, so not too many secrets. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we get out of here?
The only thing I'd like to tell to all the voters out there is that all elections, as I said last night, have consequences. The people that go out and vote, they make a statement. The people that don't vote go out and make a statement. So if you're fortunate enough to have the privilege to be able to vote, then you need to get out there and make your voice heard. Mm-hmm. That's the only way that you can ever get it done. If you're going to live in the community and to say that you don't pay attention, that you don't care, or it doesn't make any difference, then you're wrong. Everybody's votes counts. So if you have an issue that you want to get resolved, or if you want to talk to someone, or the only way that you can make your voice heard is go to the polls. Okay. And that's my message to all the people out there. This is probably the most crucial election probably in our lifetime, Kenny, from the national concept all the way down to our local levels. So we need to go out there and make your voice be heard. So that's my issue to the voters out there.
Well, we have a good city council, bad city council. It's our fault because we're the ones put them there. So basically, exactly right. We all need to get out and make our voice heard and pay attention. So, Bill, we do appreciate you being here, and we wish you all the best on the 8th of November.
Well, thank you very much, Kenny. I appreciate you giving us the opportunity to get out and speak.
All right, 8th of November coming up. It's a Tuesday, and we hope you're there 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Find your polling place. If you don't know where that is, call your local county clerk's office, and they'll be more than happy to tell you. So, again, November the 8th, Election Day. We got Bill Sheckles running for City Council in Bardstown. We hope you'll get out and vote that day. We'll be back in a few minutes with more Community Focus here on Channel 6 TV. We'll be right back.